So you said something too that, like pointing to this problem of reinforcing a negative story that drains you, and you go back to it and you feel like you can't escape. You know, you're filled with bitterness and resentment of someone that has more than you, and that kind of story. You know, it's it's really interesting. Seeing like people's response to Elon Musk, you know, like people love him and they focus on all his interesting inventions. And it's like, you can compare him to other billionaires who are really just spending it on big houses and super yachts and really sucking the life dry corporately, you know, taking advantage of that. Well, it's like, come on, like among the billionaires, Elon is pretty cool for one. You know, sure, you can dig into his family history and the emerald mining and all that stuff, but you know, to hate on him for just being a billionaire. But this is it. It's a conscious reinforcing of a story to hate
someone that has succeeded.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't have to, it's not hurting him to hate him. It's hurting you. It's filling your body with stress over this guy that you can't do anything about. And really you could have gratitude for a lot of things that he's doing and make his existence empower you. Mm-hmm. But that aside, the thing that I know this personally because I feel like this was the shift I had in 2017, before, you know, I described going from atheist to being extremely open to all sorts of possibility. Yeah. But it was this thing about the negative story. One, realizing that I was telling a negative story. Mm-hmm. And two, and this is the big thing, that I have the power, the creative control to change it. Like, to extreme degrees, and that I'm kind of ignorant about how that mechanism works and how much work is ahead of me, but it's just this intuition and sudden realization of knowing I'm in a bad story and I have the power to change it all by myself. And I think that's the problem. Most people telling a negative story, when you talk to them about this, they don't believe they have that power. Yeah. You know, we've talked a little bit about the qualms we have with maybe the psychiatric and mental health industry in a more conventional sense, where this idea that things like depression and anxiety are because of a chemical imbalance. Yeah. It's like actually, I'm pretty sure it's the opposite. I'm pretty sure the chemical imbalance is a physical manifestation of a bad story being told, an anxious story, a story that breeds, you know, perpetual sadness, where you just feel like there's no escape, you're helpless, and you have no control over this story.
I couldn't agree with you more. There's so much to unpack about what you just said, but I really, going back to one of the first things that you said about, I'm forgetting how you worded it, but just about not knowing the work that is in front of me, you know, with your spiritual journey and awakening and, you know, reclaiming that power as the creator, as the artist of your own life. I think that that's a very humble point and statement that you make, because sometimes, you know, when we're up at the top and we're feeling super heavily evolved and we're like, wow, I feel amazing right now, I feel invigorated, it's like, now you're stuck in that story, because you get stuck in it and you're like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. Yeah. So then now you're not accepting and not open to the unknown, because you think that this is all. You're like, wow, this feels awesome. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I will say the industry that you predominantly see this in is holistic healers. Yeah. Because they, I mean, you know, to some, it's like they are the almighty, like, healers of the world, doing the Reiki and the yoga and even what I do with the meditations. But that can become toxic if even those people are not, you know, staying open and receptive of new and change, because, you know, you're always growing. Our bodies are always growing. If you're not growing, you're just choosing to die, as I like to say. So, choose to grow. Keep your mind open every day and be open to that new study. Be open to that new meditation, that new, yoga practice, that new breathing exercise. Be open to it all. Don't get stuck in the same old, because you will find that story, I'm sure, before your break, that maybe that story for you, maybe that story was fucking awesome 2 years prior to your break. And maybe you got stuck in it and then you broke down, And so it's like, don't stay in the one story. Continue to be open to the possibilities. Continue to be open to the unknown, because we're always wanting to attract. We're always wanting to tap into and tune into more of what we want in this life and what we want, how we want our picture that we're painting for this life to look. And, never stop painting.